Did your avoidant partner ever tell you this? When you've been with an avoidant partner, you know that their words don't always match their actions. One of the most confusing parts of loving someone with an avoidant attachment style is trying to understand what they really mean when they finally open their mouth. Sometimes their words sting, sometimes they confuse you, and other times they reveal more about their fears than they ever intended. So today, we're going to explore some of the most common things avoidant partners actually say, and what those words secretly mean. Because once you can decode their language, you stop feeling lost in their mixed signals and start seeing the truth behind their behavior. The first thing you might hear an avoidant say is, "I just need space." On the surface, it sounds simple enough. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're overwhelmed. But underneath, what they're really saying is, "Closeness feels like danger to me right now." Avoidants don't process intimacy the way most people do. While closeness feels safe to an anxious or secure partner, to an avoidant, it can feel like they're losing control or being consumed. So when they say they need space, it isn't always about you. It's about their nervous system screaming for distance. The key is not to panic when you hear this, because the more calm you remain, the faster they usually return. Another phrase you might recognize is, "I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship." Now here's the trick. Many avoidants say this even while they're already in one. What they're trying to communicate is that commitment feels heavy, final, even terrifying. To you, love might mean security, but to them, it often means loss of freedom. When they tell you they're not ready, it doesn't always mean they don't feel anything. It often means they feel too much. They're overwhelmed by the depth of their emotions and unsure if they can handle it. This is why so many avoidants leave good relationships, not because the love isn't real, but because the intensity feels unsafe. A third common avoidant phrase is, "I'm fine." You might hear this after a fight, during a tense moment, or when you ask how they're doing. But the truth is, "I'm fine" is usually a mask. It's their way of shutting down vulnerability. Avoidants often grew up in environments where expressing needs or feelings didn't lead to comfort, so they learned to hide them. When they say they're fine, what they really mean is, "I don't know how to show you what I'm feeling without fearing rejection or shame." If you've ever felt that cold wall when they insist everything is okay, now you know. It's not that nothing's wrong, it's that they don't feel safe enough yet to tell you. Then there's the heartbreaking line, "I don't deserve you." At first, this might sound sweet, even humble, but behind those words often lies deep self-doubt. Avoidants secretly struggle with feelings of unworthiness. They believe that if you get too close, you'll see their flaws and leave. By saying they don't deserve you, they're not just complimenting you, they're confessing a wound. They're telling you in their own indirect way, "I'm afraid you'll eventually realize I'm not enough." Ironically, this is often when they push you away, not because they don't care, but because they care too much and don't trust themselves to be loved. Another classic avoidant phrase is, "I just don't want to talk about it." This usually comes up when emotions are high or when you're asking for clarity. For most people, not talking feels like rejection. But for avoidance, avoiding the topic is their survival mechanism. They fear that talking about feelings will open up a flood they can't control. By shutting it down, they feel like they're protecting themselves from drowning. Unfortunately, it leaves you on the other side feeling invisible. The real meaning of this phrase is not "I don't care," but "I don't know how to handle this without breaking." Sometimes an avoidant will say, "I just don't need anyone." This one hurts because it makes you feel unnecessary, even disposable. But here's the truth. This is one of the biggest lies avoidants tell themselves. Deep down, they do need connection, just like anyone else. But they've been trained to equate needing someone with weakness. So when they tell you they don't need anyone, what they're really saying is, "I don't know how to admit how badly I want to need you." Their independence isn't always strength. It's often armor. And the harder they insist they don't need you, the more it means they're terrified of losing you. You might also hear, "You're too good for me." At first glance, this feels like flattery, but in avoidant language, it's often a shield. What they're telling you is, "I'm afraid I can't live up to the love you're giving me." This fear of inadequacy can drive them to sabotage the relationship. They'd rather end it on their terms than risk you leaving when you see the parts of them they've tried to hide. This phrase is less about you and more about their lifelong fear of abandonment. Another revealing phrase avoidance uses, I'm just not emotional like other people. That's their way of excusing their lack of vulnerability. But the truth is, they do feel emotions deeply. They just don't show them. In fact, research shows avoidants often feel just as much as anxious partners. But their coping mechanism is to suppress, numb, or withdraw. So when they say they're not emotional, what they really mean is, I don't feel safe showing you how emotional I actually am. This explains why, in moments of crisis or heartbreak, an avoidance sometimes surprises you with tears or sudden vulnerability. They've been holding it all in until it bursts. And then there's the haunting phrase, I don't want to hurt you. This usually comes right before they create distance. Avoidants know on some level that their pulling away causes pain. So instead of admitting they're afraid of intimacy, they frame it as protecting you. But what they're really saying is, I don't trust myself to love you without eventually withdrawing. They're projecting their fear of failing onto you. While it feels like rejection, it's really their own inner conflict spilling out. But perhaps the most vulnerable thing an avoidant might say is, I love you, but that but carries the weight of all their fears. I love you, but I'm scared. I love you, but I don't know how to be close. I love you, but I might ruin this. For avoidance, love doesn't erase fear, it magnifies it. When they say this, it's not that their love isn't real, it's that their fear is just as strong. Understanding this can shift the way you hear those words. Instead of doubting their love, you start to see the battle they're fighting inside. So did your avoidant partner ever tell you these things? If they did, you now know what was really happening beneath the surface. Avoidants speak in code. Their words often hide the truth they can't bear to face. And once you learn to hear what they're not saying, you stop feeling powerless. You realize their phrases aren't rejections of you. They're reflections of their wounds. And the more you understand their hidden language, the less confusion, frustration, and heartbreak you'll carry. At the end of the day, the question isn't just whether your avoidant partner told you these things. The real question is, what do you do with this knowledge? Do you chase them harder, trying to break down their walls? Or do you stand firm in your own worth, giving them space to choose you freely? Because here's the truth. An avoidant will only ever commit fully when they meet someone who both respects their independence and inspires their trust. And if you can embody both, those confusing phrases eventually transform. I just need space becomes, I feel safe with you. I don't deserve you becomes, I don't want to lose you. And I'm not ready for a relationship becomes, I never thought I'd want one this much. Until you.